What is the best way to keep a child in touch with themselves and God?
So as parents, we have this role of caretaking with our children. The thing is that children are in touch with themselves. They are in touch with truth and grace and God. So really, it's rather than looking at what we need to do to them and for them and with them and trying to mould them or shape them or guide them, it comes back again here. Are we in touch with truth? Are we in touch with grace? Are we in touch with God? Are we allowing this that is God to live every moment of this life? And this is what speaks to our children then. This is what enables our children. This is what guides our children. Because, you know, people, yes, of course they want the best for our children, and what can we do? What can they do? But that's the condition of our society, always looking outside rather than starting here. And I often say in satsang, kindness, to be kind here. Whatever has brought us to this moment in our life, to this point in our life, it doesn't serve us to be unkind inwardly or outwardly. So to start with the kindness here and to discover, again, where are we holding back love? Where are we holding back God? Where are we holding back grace? Where do we have expectations and projections? But it starts here. Our children are these beautiful, free beings and expressions of life and grace. And yes, they're within our families and within our communities and within our society and whatever container that brings. The biggest influence really is that we live truthfully here without imposing that on our children. And so to live truthfully here as an opening, and that opening is what guides and supports and allows the unfolding of healthful growing up.
So more a demonstration and a role modelling than in instructions and such.
Yeah, so who we be, how we live. And yet even those words, role modelling, again can be used and changed and corrupted by the mind. Well, if I just be this way in front of my children, or act this way, rather than seeing how am I being? How am I living every moment, whether in front of my children or not? The truthfulness of this is what our children pick up on anyway. This is what our children copy and emulate. And
not in front of the children. Yeah, that's quite a famous phrase in a TV program, I think.
Oh, so there are of course things that are appropriate not in front of the children. You know, we live, as I said, in a particular society with its culture and morals and laws, and there are things that are appropriate and not appropriate in front of the children, of course. And different societies will have different views and different expectations and different ways they are around their children. So we live within the society that we live within. But if we're acting one way in front of the children and acting another way all the rest of the time, the children are not immune to that. The children experience who we are, whether they're in another room or not, whether they're in another building or not.
The duplicity of that.
Yeah, so really it's always pointing back here. Who am I? How is this grace living me? What is the truthfulness here? What am I needing to meet, needing to see, needing to be shown? Am I willing to open in the face of that? Am I willing to live this life truthfully here? Now that doesn't mean we speak out then everything that's discovered in front of the children, and yet there's a way that we can be truthful, always truthful, even silently truthful with our children.
It requires a real honesty to do what you're saying, doesn't it? And a terrific honesty in front of the children. I mean, I don't know whether I've ever been that honest in front of children.
So that makes it sound like there's a lot of pressure then again to be a certain way and behave a certain way. So really the honesty is here. Am I willing to be ruthlessly truthful here? What's really going on for me here? What would have me hide or cower or cover or hold back? So I'm not saying about speaking in an inappropriate way or sharing certain things that are not appropriate for children's ages. This is really about the truthfulness here, and then the truthfulness here, we don't have to think about, am I being a good parent? Am I saying the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? This truthfulness lives us. This truthfulness is what guides the loving embrace with our children, that causes us to speak or not speak. There's an authenticness and a trustworthiness to this grace, and I'm not speaking about abdicating responsibility either. So not taking on responsibility like a pressure and not abdicating responsibility. Really, the willingness to be here where we are. And it takes a ruthless honesty and authenticity here, willingness to be vulnerable here, willingness to meet what's been covered, but really it's speaking the truth to ourselves and discovering what's deeper. And then there's an ease and a grace that's living this life that supports us supporting our children without any of that mental pressure. Anything else to be asked about that? It's a huge topic with our children because there are so many ideas, there are so many schools of thought, there are so many views, there are so many religious ideals, there is so much that goes on in each culture, in each society, in each family. And so the willingness to see, is it born from uncomfortability? Is it born from fear? Is it born from control? Is it born from need? Is it born from? And our willingness to meet that, then the truthfulness is what can be shared. The truthfulness of love, really, the truthfulness of connection.
You wouldn't necessarily want to share your fears with the child, would you? As an adult, as a parent.
So it's not a remedy of whether we should or shouldn't. So if we're willing to meet our fear here, our children are aware that it's okay to feel and experience fear, and that in the opening and the meeting of fear, that there's a discovery that's beyond fear. So sometimes it can be useful that children know as adults that that their life isn't all together, that sometimes we are upset, that sometimes we are afraid, that sometimes we are angry, but it doesn't stop there. That the willingness that we have to meet the fear, to meet the anger, to meet whatever it is without projecting it, enables a child then to know that whatever comes through the form, whatever emotion comes through the form is okay. Not of course to project, not of course to live in a world of fear, to project the anger, but that it's okay to have anger come up in the body and meet it and open and, oh, that's all it was. Or fear, oh, that's all it was. And then here they are. Otherwise, our children grow up to hide from fear, to squash down fear, to manage and manipulate fear or anger or any other emotion. So again, it comes back to us here, to our truthfulness. And it's ruthless. The thing is, even if you've only had a glimpse of this grace, of this freedom, of this love, if you're willing to turn your attention to the glimpse, not trying to get another one and another one and another one, but to this discovery guides you. This discovery is trustworthy. Thank you. Thank you. It's a beautiful question.